like I just did. Now we are live.
I wish you would have told me.
Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. How y'all doing? My name is Cindy Lister. I am a ranch chef out of Arizona. Let's see. Today we're just going to be visiting. If you guys hear a little voice in the background. My little kid is just having a ball. Yeah, we're going to watch a video about the flock cameras.
There we go. Bow.
So are we live or not?
Oh, you are.
Oh, okay.
No, my bad. I meant.
Episode, by the way. First off, I've got to go ahead and we're gonna do our verse of the day, which is gonna be the verse.
You know what? We might need to restart.
Okay, we'll restart first.
Just because, I'm sorry, my bad. The camera kind of messed up and it wasn't doing the audio input capture on the other one.
Oh.
So now it's up. I'm just gonna do this. Bow. So let's just run it like that.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and just
continue on, or are we not live anymore?
No, you're still live.
Oh, we're still live.
You've been live the whole time. We've never not.
We've been live the whole time. Well, that's all right.
Yeah, actually, right here.
Drink my coffee real quick.
We can.
We're just gonna get real comfortable up in here. Drink my coffee.
The chat will start popping up right here. We can see how many people are viewing. We'll see the chat rate in a moment.
Okay, so nobody's been in here this entire time, so that's good.
We're chilling. Yeah. Honestly, right now.
Just visit, get comfortable, and we can just BS until people start coming in. What is it? Does it take like 20 minutes for the algorithm to start hitting us?
I mean,
to where we pop up?
It'll start pushing once we... I don't really know, actually, really about YouTube's algorithm yet.
Well, let's just jump into the reaction video then. And once we get people in here, we can go from there. What do you think about that?
No, I like that. And then
once we get more than like 0 people in here, we can start doing our spiel.
So just go ahead and give your explanation one more time, and then start into the Bible quote after, and then I'll hit the video up.
Okay, wonderful. So for those of you guys who don't know who I am, and it's really weird, I'm just learning all my camera angles, so if I'm like looking in all the weird places, you guys know why. But my name is Cindy Lister. I am a ranch chef, agriculture advocate, and above all, a grateful believer out of Arizona. My cooking style, I can do anything from wagon trash to high class eats. I've worked in restaurants for the majority of my life. I did medical at one point, but I always came back to wanting to live the ranch life and wanting to prepare meals that reflected the life that I missed so much. Let's see. I also really enjoy talking about issues that are important to me as a grateful believer. Any issues about Christians, I'm going to go ahead and talk about. Also, agriculture issues are a big thing for me. I like to discuss our food supply chain. And if you guys are wondering what that noise is I have a very, very beautiful, very, very sweet little girl. I'm also a mom of 3 under 3. So if you guys are ever wondering why it's crazy in here, that's why. Yeah. Anyway, so today we've got a lot of plans. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do I'm going to watch a video segment about the flock cameras that was just released. I don't know exact dates on that, but my nephew actually brought it to my attention, and he was like, hey, you need to do a blind reaction to this video. You're talking about flock cameras. So we're going to go ahead and try and do that today. That's one of the movements that I'm working on right now in Payson, Arizona, is getting rid of the flock cameras. So they all just kind of started popping up, and everybody seems to think that their data is safe, and those who are like, oh, well, you know, your cell phone records your every minute anyway. To that I say, when do we draw the line? So that's why I'm going to talk about the flock cameras, and that's why I believe that they should be taken down out of Payson, out of Gila County, and out of Arizona.
So let's go ahead really quick. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
I'm the nephew. Hey, baby. So right here on the website, which, just to show you, it's showing up right in this corner, so you're just in the corner.
Oh,
so
okay.
they can all see this website.
They can see it as we read through it. So let's read through it together.
Hey, baby.
Payson, Arizona PD uses flock safety technology to capture objective evidence without compromising on individual privacy. Payson AZPD utilizes retroactive search to solve crimes after they've occurred. That's really not good. So they can go back and investigate from images that were stored. Okay.
Yep.
Additionally, Payson, Arizona PD utilizes real-time alerting hot list vehicles to capture wanted criminals in an effort to ensure proper usage and guardrails are in place. They have made the below policies and usage statistics available to the public. Okay, so I'm just going to read through the policies. You guys can see the screen too. What's detected? License plates, vehicles. What's not detected? Facial recognition, people, gender, and race. Okay, so this already is just striking so many red flags from what I've seen, but we're not going to get into that. This next video, I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen some of that guy's work. He's going to talk about this. We'll let him address it. Acceptable use policy.
Hey, baby. Hey, baby.
Data is used for law enforcement purposes only. Data is owned by Payson, Arizona PD, and is never sold to a third party. Or sold to third parties.
Stop
See,
the cat.
That's another thing. Okay, so while Payson PD, and we just want to say this, we are not anti-law enforcement, guys. Okay, we love our local Leos, and we just want there to be there needs to be a little bit of oversight for this for
multiple reasons.
There's so many implications here, so we're just going to keep going through it. So they say prohibited uses, immigrant enforcement, which we already know in other states that they've already been doing that with flock cameras, with or without the city's permission, from my knowledge. We'll get into that, and if it's not true, you know, we're going to do more research. Harassment or intimidation. That's another one we had. I've read a couple different reports of officers using it to harass their ex-wives and a bunch of other stuff. Usage based solely on protected class, race, sex, religion. We already know that they're doing geofencing, specifically in Arizona, Colorado, and California. I think Utah's on the list too, I'm not sure. Access policy. All systems access requires a valid reason and is stored indefinitely. Well, guys, let's just say that I know that's not true. Hot list policies. Hot list hits are required to be human verified prior to action. Okay, so.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, what does that even mean? What is a hot list policy?
Let's look that up.
Let's look up what a hot list policy
is. A hot list.
If I had to guess, it would be like for certain, like they'll put out like the turquoise deal, the amber alerts and stuff. I wonder if they have stuff like that for.
Hot list policy defines rules and procedures for maintaining lists of high priority items, often vehicles or individuals, to flag them for law enforcement or security. But it also applies to other fields like finance or cosmetics, focusing on immediate action or exclusion based on risk or status. So basically, it's a social credit report.
Oh, Wow.
They're saying that they're keeping. All right, and I also want to say you skipped over one part in the prohibited use thing. Traffic enforcement. They're not allowed to use this for traffic enforcement.
Yeah.
How are they using it for literal speed traps on the high, like going through Scottsdale, Tempe area?
Well, and they've taken them down in some of these towns for these reasons.
Paradise Valley is terrible with these.
Let's go through the list here of organizations granted access to Payson, Arizona PD.
Let's do it.
So, okay, I see a lot of city ones, and you guys can see that too, right? Everybody can see the different cities. Keep scrolling. Keep scrolling. Keep scrolling.
I'm ready when you are.
Well,
What's next?
Sorry. Wrong person, not talking to you. I think that was Gemini or something. It's probably on my cell phone. Okay, so they have a bunch of different, like, we're not against law enforcement talking to each other. That's not the problem. Hot list, what's
Hot
that?
list alerted on NCIC, NCMEC, Amber Alert.
What are those?
So this is just the acronym for the company that runs Amber Alert, and that's just Amber Alert. NCIC, I don't know.
Huh.
NCIC.
Let's go ahead and look into that.
Oh, so this is for the inmate phone service. This is the private correctional. This is for the private prison system. So all the private prison owners can have their own hot lists.
Oh, so they can be recording us so they can put us in prison and then watch us in prison. That sounds like a great idea.
They are even telling us how many unique vehicles were detected by their flock cameras in the Payson area in the last 30 days, which was 202,541.
Wow. If you're a rancher, you know that that's like, well.
Hot list hits in the last 30 days, 857, meaning they've utilized 857 different people's data that was recorded out here using Payson flock cameras.
That's terrifying.
But what are they using it for if they're prohibited to use it on immigration enforcement, traffic enforcement, harassment or intimidation, usage based solely on protected class or personal use?
Yeah, but then how are they doing the hot
So
list
what are
thing
they
if they're not
using
doing
this
the other?
for?
Yeah, that's weird.
What else are they? Yeah,
Maybe we should watch the video now and see, because that guy really goes into it. And the reason why I was laughing at so much of this stuff is because I've seen some of this guy's stuff. And let's just say that things aren't as they seem. We'll let him start talking.
The video might take a second.
It might
to
take
load.
just a second. We live out here.
You may
on
remember
this
me
other-
from this video where I told you about 40,000 of these things that your tax dollars pay for that are tracking your every move and repurposing data collected about you every time that you drive past them. Upon further investigation, it turns out that there are over 80,000 of them, and we got some and we hacked them. You can press a button a few times on the back of these cameras and within a few minutes turn them into your own personal spy device or malware host or honeypot that steals people's login.
And so boom, let's just go back 10 seconds.
Turn them into your own personal spy device.
So they're not using it for traffic enforcement,
That's suspicious.
right?
That's weird.
Why is it all set up for literal traffic data if
Yeah.
it's not supposed to be used
Well,
for
and-
traffic enforcement?
Let's keep playing the video. We
Or a malware host, or honeypot that steals people's login credentials, or a cryptocurrency miner, whatever you want, really. Or alternatively, how you can point an antenna at them and decode the video stream using a technique used by the CIA during the Cold War. Or how another researcher found a Google search phrase that had the capabilities of showing you the real-time location of these cameras and police patrol cars. This isn't clickbait or an exaggerated claim with no payoff. Just the other day, weeks before this video will be released, US senators and representatives drafted an official letter to open an investigation that highlights the national security
even our
risks
country-
associated with our
On the national level, we're concerned about this.
Oh yeah, because
Wow.
this isn't just addressing like Arizona. This video is addressing.
So this has been like
the entire
a
nation.
nationwide problem. This isn't just like we tried this in one state
no,
and this is what
This
we've
is happening
noticed.
all across the country right now.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
that's real concerning.
Baby, what's wrong? Why are we crying? What? We chilling. We're chilling. Just chill.
Carry me.
Here,
Oh.
I'm gonna keep the video going. If you want to pause it,
Perfect.
just reach up and press the space bar.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Findings. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how they work and even demonstrate them to journalists.
No f***ing way!
And finally, we're going to take a deep data dive into the efficacy, misinformation, and straight up lies surrounding some private surveillance startups, and we're going to use that momentum to push for protocols and legislation that actually makes you safer. Wow, that's a lot for a YouTube video.
How I can never act. Been trying to stack up racks on racks. Boys in the back wearing all black, staying on track. Better show you gun, and that's on me. Out here getting this beef. You work for the devil, better retreat.
He's got his intro.
Really quick,
Yes.
Greg just showed me that Flagstaff just took a vote to remove 32 flock cameras.
Toot toot, Flagstaff. If you guys are having your movement, I'm impatient and I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. I want to work with you. If you're running for office this year and you're against flock cameras, we should chat. We should totally chat.
I sent you the link to the article, not the...
Let's go ahead and play again
Copy.
so our guests can get to hear. Sorry, guys.
The meat and potatoes of this video will be mostly in parody with John Gainsek's white paper, and that's linked in the description below. Many of these vulnerabilities were recently published with the National Vulnerability Database or are in the process of publication. And to prevent the average viewer from getting lost or falling asleep, I'm going to keep many of the formalities and extensive details to a minimum, but if you find yourself wanting more details at any time in this video, just check the description for a whole bunch of links. Welcome to the world of responsible disclosure. And while I'm up here, let me tell you that to the best of my knowledge, any of the cameras or hardware seen in this video were
What does that
acquired
sound
legally.
like,
I have not
guys?
shared or redistributed any of the data on them, and as long as they are in my possession, they will not be placed into the wild. At no point in time have I knowingly accessed or interfered with any server or service related to or owned by Flock Safety. There is a chance that all of the devices that you see in this video, or all of the devices that we have acquired from multiple different sources, are unique and do not have the same hardware or software that the devices in the wild have. I have no idea how or why that would be the case, but it is technically a possibility. And finally, at the time of me recording this, there are 47 security issues covered, with the vast majority listed in the white paper. In this video, I'm going to be showing you 6 of them. Over the last summer, when doing research for my first video on this topic, I started poking around to see if anyone had done an independent audit of Flock Safety or related services. This naturally led me to the dark web, where I have access to some semi-private communities dedicated to hacking and open source intelligence. Some of these communities have well-organized marketplaces for breached data, credentials, exploits, and all that stuff. And that is where I found
So boom, let's look at this.
this. Please
Why are these a bunch of...
excuse the poor English translation, but these
So
What? So this is like an ad, right?
this is an advertisement for literal... Let's go back to the website. Hey baby, I'm gonna move really quick. Hot list profiles. This right here
Uh-huh.
is a hot list profile. So literally,
Oh, so they...
at least from my understanding, I could be wrong, but that's my understanding, is that straight up what they're saying is only being utilized between inter-American police departments, is actually being sold on the black market currently to presumably Russians. That is definitely Cyrillic.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea. Let's keep hearing what he has to say about it. I wonder if he addresses this.
were law enforcement Flock Safety accounts for sale with escrow protection by a reputable vendor, and a few days later, the listings were removed in a way that suggested that someone had bought them. Not long after that, I got in touch with a professional security researcher regarding other things on this list, and what do you know? He found something very similar on the dark web.
So in the cyber industry, there are things called access brokers, and some people specialize in government agencies or maybe local law enforcement.
I started
So it
digging
went
more to find
the
out where
black market.
So yeah, quite literally now there's identified access brokers, people who have access to this information and are utilizing it to sell on wherever. What we call the
Wow,
deep
it
web.
sounds like these guys really shouldn't have cameras up anywhere. Like, they can't be trusted, the flock camera people.
these accounts could have come from. Were they bought or stolen off of a police officer or a Flock employee? Or just maybe Flock Safety had some security vulnerabilities. The most significant and troublesome and mind-boggling vulnerability on this list was discovered nearly a year ago.
Late 2024, I stumbled down a rabbit hole, and then
probably a few nights later, was messing with the buttons and the dip switch, and then was able to figure out how to get a shell on it. Yeah, so I'm John Gainsek Gaines. Professionally, I've been in the offensive security field for over a decade.
Obtaining shell on a device means that you can remote control it, exfiltrate data, and escalate privileges, which is exactly what John did. As detailed on control it.
The offensive security field for over a decade.
Obtaining shell on a device means that you can remote control it, exfiltrate data, and escalate privileges, which is exactly what John did.
So basically, this dude's about to he's about to go into the specifics on if you can acquire a flock camera yourself, how you as a civilian individual would be able to do it. He's about to explain this.
As detailed on John's blog and formerly published paper, John had found a user named Cager on social media who was trying to recreate some of the disclosures. He reported that by merely pressing the button on a device in a particular sequence on a flock safety camera, a wireless access point is created.
Hey, pardon.
Wireless access point Wi-Fi connection. So you just literally press the button.
Your teenager at home could do that, guys. It doesn't take a genius to do that. I could probably do that.
Anyone could do it.
And I'm not a techie
Anyone can
at
do
all. That's crazy.
Don't do any of this stuff unless you can legally acquire a flock safety camera. If you do this to one of the 80,000 all over the US of A, you'll be put in the clink. First thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and press the button to turn on that police camera. Then press the button on the back a number of times I can't disclose in this video.
I'm going to check really quick. I just want to make sure everything's set. And if the video runs, we'll be alright.
There she is, the Flock wireless access point. Go on and connect. Send a command to enable ADB. Connect. And now you can connect to the Flock safety device and access its data.
So quite literally, I can even demonstrate this because they can see the whole screen using literally command prompt. Once you are connected to the Wi-Fi, this right here, all I have to do is do the same exact script execution that man literally just put on the screen right here off this computer right now. If I had a flock camera, we would be able to hack into it currently.
Yeah, that's like super concerning. So concerning, considering, what was it that I heard about the home cameras that are chiming into the flock cameras? Have you heard about
that
those?
up. Home cameras.
I think it was the ring camera specifically that was working with.
Because they
were
use
sharing
the
same
technology.
data. Don't they store data in like the same place too? I don't know. This is why we're doing this video, guys. Like, I enjoy. Whoa.
I'm sorry.
No. I'll go ahead and read it. Home security cameras can integrate with the flock safety system through a partnership, but private individuals or homeowner associations cannot directly access data from law enforcement's flock cameras. But if they have their own camera at home, that's concerning. No.
So, oh yeah, Flock exposed its AI-powered cameras to the internet. We tracked it ourselves.
Oh my goodness.
And this is off a Reddit post, of course, but this is even pulling up a random video somewhere.
Yeah.
This dude's even waving at the camera.
He recorded himself, man.
Yeah, straight up.
That is wild. These are civilians, by the way, that have access to this.
Yes.
So, is Flock really who we need to be, like...
A private company.
It's a private company that's not held responsible, apparently.
No.
I don't think we should have them in Payson, period.
It's the one trying to hold people responsible.
Well, that's a whole other soapbox, man.
Because let's think about this really quick. What else does this look like besides the Chinese social credit system where...
There's no other way to see it.
Yeah, especially like, for example, let's say you just jaywalk one day. Now all of a sudden your credit report, ding, minus 20 points, not just for the way you pay, but for the way you live your life.
Right, or Christians, for example, like in the UK, that are currently being persecuted for praying in public or standing on the road, and they know that they're a Christian standing across from... Yeah.
Yep, and so that's going to be, boom, now you're tracked, and your credit score will go down from that.
So in case you're wondering why I'm so against this, is America hasn't experienced persecution yet for their church. In America, like, we are not persecuted like they are in other countries as Christians. This kind of technology, it kind of opens some doors, guys, and I can't ignore it.
Nope.
Let's continue.
Or install whatever the hell you want on it. Have fun.
This, along with John's previous discoveries, are encapsulated in an easy-to-use tool that he made so even a novice user could obtain full control of the cameras. We let George Cheedy from The Guardian do the honors.
The longest part actually is waiting for the hotspot to turn on, but realistically in about 5 seconds. And in fact, with the compute box, you don't need to hit the buttons because the USB-C ports are exposed, so you can just plug in a rubber ducky and then walk away.
A rubber ducky, sometimes referred to as a bad USB, is a USB drive that a computer or device detects as a USB keyboard and then executes scripts called payloads. One can make a device like this for as little as $5. This quite literally raises the limit of how one could use flock safety devices to their imagination. You can clone or decompile the apps. You could send the video stream data to a remote server. You could use it as a botnet client for malware. You could have it capture Wi-Fi handshake credentials and do middleman or honeypot attacks, or replace or modify captured footage or images. And if that is the case, this could bring into question the integrity of the data being used as admissible evidence in court, like in general, unless of course a prosecutor could prove that a security breach wasn't detected. And about that.
The apps that are installed that are custom of the vendor all have debug enabled, which on these types of devices, on Android devices, means that you can pause them in runtime and modify the memory, right? Which gives you system injection. System can write properties, and in this case, there's one that you can modify, a cleanup script that is ran as root. You can consider it either a wireless RCE or a gated wireless RCE that goes from no access to root, which is the worst case.
This means that malicious code can be installed and executed outside of the operating system. So like when you first turn on a computer and see the BIOS screen where the system does.
You can literally use your phone.
That's what I was getting at. Is there, like, I'm not a tech person. Can you break that down for them? That, like, literally this
All you
can
have
do
to
that?
do is plug in a USB stick that has the software application that would connect to your phone, like an app.
Right.
Literally the same app that's on your phone. You just download that app on the USB stick, and then when you plug it into the box that thing is connected to, which they just said most if not all flock boxes are pretty much exposed, meaning you can just walk up to it,
And
flip
plug
open the
something
switch,
in.
and plug in the USB stick, and then you walk away, and so it runs the app that's on the USB stick, and that app is connected to your phone, so you control the flock stick from your phone.
Yeah, that's not concerning or anything. Considering I know where several of the flock cameras are, I can imagine that it wouldn't be too hard for the folks with ill intent to find those. Like,
Exactly.
concerning.
As its little self-check, it could exist right there, acting as a superior to Windows or iOS or whatever it is that you're booting into. Multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication or two-step verification is part of our daily lives. We use it when we log into everything from Gmail to TikTok to our banks and nearly everything in between. But not all 2FA is equal, and different types have their own strengths and weaknesses. For example, some 2FAs simply pop up on your phone or your desktop and ask you if you've just logged in from a certain device or region, in which you can approve or decline the new device. This is an excellent security protocol if you're sitting at home in Kansas and see that somebody from Bangladesh just used your password. But if I'm sitting in your driveway in Kansas, or especially if I'm using your Wi-Fi using a device like this, I can clone your Wi-Fi signal and then send a deauthorization or deauth signal to your device's MAC address. Either you will notice this and try to reconnect, or your computer or phone will automatically reconnect, and now you'd be accessing your own network through my device. I could use a script to clone the login page of whatever credentials I'm trying to get, and then feed it to you, capturing your session and, depending on the service, your username and password. Then,
Okay, let me break this down. Basically, what happens is somebody can access your Wi-Fi. They can. Hey, I'm talking. Hold on. They can access your Wi-Fi. They can send a signal that messes the Wi-Fi up on your device, and then you disconnect and reconnect to the Wi-Fi. And when that happens, you're not directly connecting to the Wi-Fi box itself. You're going through the machine they set up to send that signal to you. So then now what they're going to do is simply set up what's called a keylogger, which is going to record everything you type.
Oh.
And now that's where they get the literal password for the So this is where basically this dude's about to say your Google account is more secure than these flock cameras.
Wow. Well, let's hear what he has to say about it then.
As expected, you would get a two-step verification asking you if you just logged in, and you would say yes, granting me access. This means that when it comes to credentials like this, even with 2FA or MFA, a police surveillance company's security can only be as good as the least security-minded person with access to that system. If you're wondering how low this security bar can go with clients, you'll be disappointed to know that Flock Safety doesn't require two-factor authentication with some police departments.
They don't even, so you know how you have to do the extra step to get into your Google account? They don't even have to do that to get into these data
So they don't,
centers.
wow. So all the hoops we have to jump through if we switch devices for Google.
He literally just said we
He
don't
doesn't
even
have
do
to
that.
they don't have to do any of that. That's really concerning because that means that pretty much anybody.
Anyone can, I know how to hack that.
That's crazy.
Yes, you heard that right. The security process you go through when you log into Disney Plus is just too much to ask some police departments to do when accessing confidential information and the location of, in some cases, virtually everyone. When I first found this out, I simply couldn't believe it. And neither could U.S. Senator Wyden's team, which is why it's among the issues leading to a request for the FTC to open an investigation into the company on the grounds of national security. Fortunately, there's a super easy solution to this, a USB or NFC authenticator. It costs as little as $10 and you just plug it in or wave it in front of your device for the second layer of authentication. And if this is too much hassle for an able-bodied police officer or employee to use, then maybe they shouldn't have access to secure information. It's really frustrating to spend this much time talking about a problem when a very simple and common sense solution to that problem has existed since day one. A concerning amount of hard-coded information is stored inside Flock Safety cameras, and we'll hear all about it in the next vulnerabilities on this list, but within this information is a list of Wi-Fi network names. So I set up a dummy network with one of these Wi-Fi names. Then, when removing the SIM card or when the device couldn't find an LTE signal, some of our Flock Safety cameras happily connected to the dummy network and routed upstream traffic through it. Others seemingly prioritized my dummy network by default, regardless of if it had a SIM card in it or not. So I captured the PCAP data being transmitted from one of these cameras for a little while, and analyzed it with Wireshark and Unblob, which is an open source extraction suite. And sure enough, there were clear text credentials in the data. These exact vulnerabilities were originally disclosed by John in April, another in September, and with another pending. This attack requires knowing the name or credentials of the Wi-Fi networks the camera is looking for. But what concerns me more is that this information wasn't in an encrypted upstream to begin with, which means that by using a professional grade SDR or IMSI catcher, which is more or less a DIY Stingray device, a malicious hacker could just hijack the LTE connection and then do the exact same thing without needing to know these network names or even being physically near the camera. This could also allow a more modern version of a Tempest attack, which I'll demonstrate in a few minutes, and that's where a hacker could decode the motion JPEG video stream. I actually tried to accomplish this as I love puzzles, but unfortunately time forced me to choose between decoding the pixel sequence or finishing this video, and here we are. When I recreated John's research on these devices, as previously shown, it was as clear to me as it was to John when he first discovered it that they inadequately protected credentials, API keys, passwords, and more. As I mentioned, the GainSec blog and the papers have a lot more details on this for the technically minded, but I'm going to use this segment to talk about some of the other troubling things that were found stored in the camera. On Flock Safety's website, it is stated that they do not capture or record data of people, but only vehicles. They also state that data and footage capture or record sounds stored in the camera. On Flock Safety's website, it is stated that they do not capture or record data of people.
But didn't they just say in the policy that they were like available for the hot list? Doesn't that track everybody?
So yeah, basically, even though they are stating they are not recording any of this data, somehow there are profiles being built from the data being recorded. Which what other data besides license plates, faces, human interaction
Like
would
in
they
the
literally
cars
be
and
recording?
stuff,
Yeah. And now they're saying that they do not capture any of that. They don't. They're literally saying, no, flock cameras only capture vehicle data. So they're only saying that it only captures. They are saying they capture the license plates, and they're
Right.
saying that's it. They do not collect personal info facial recognition, or anything tied to individuals. But what is your license plate tied to?
Your car.
And no, what is that tied to? You.
You, yeah.
So.
Well, not only that, but can't they? Okay, if they take a picture of the vehicles, sometimes you can see stuff in the cars, and you can see people in the cars. Like, you can see. I could probably, if I had a camera in front of my gate, you could probably see my face as I drive through my gate, right?
Yep.
I think that would be kind of the same thing. Like, they could probably still pull that data if they really want to.
Yep. You want me to continue?
Continue.
But only vehicles. They also state that data and footage is encrypted throughout the entire life cycle, and that data is automatically removed from devices after 7 days.
7 days? Didn't their platform say 31 days?
So Flock, yeah, wow, let's look at that, right?
Let's take a look.
So Flock itself says they're only capturing for the last 7 days. Payson is saying the last 30 days. So now we automatically recognize, well, this is what's happening. The Flock centers, their data, they're going to delete it after 7, but before those 7 days are up, somebody from the local police department is going to go into that data center and save that data into the local police database.
And that's like a thing, right? Like, do we have proof of that?
That's literally what they're saying, because how else would your data retention be for 30 days if Flock's is only 7?
Well, let's keep watching and see if he specifies, because I'm curious about that now.
Speaking for myself, when I recreated John's research across multiple devices, I confirmed exactly what he was seeing. If Flock Safety's cameras in the wild are operating like the ones we researched, this would be a clear contradiction to their statements. Firstly, when I moved in front of the camera,
contradiction to their statements.
This would be a clear contradiction to their cameras in the wild. Multiple devices, I confirmed exactly what he was seeing. If Flock Safety's cameras in the wild are operating like the ones we researched, this would be a clear contradiction to their statements. Firstly, when I moved in front of the camera, the radar module triggered the camera module to take a picture of me. Then the onboard AI looked for a license plate and didn't find one.
Wow, so they immediately took a picture of him to say, all right, we're going to look for the license plate in the background. Nope, we didn't find it, but we're still taking pictures of a human's face using human facial data recognition in order to take the picture for a license plate, air quotations. Which means they have to use that picture itself is being stored.
So that's just a blatant lie.
That's a blatant lie. They're definitely using facial recognition to utilize in their data research. Hey, baby, we're not doing that right now. Hey, Carrie,
if you guys hear us back here with the little kid and you hear her crying,
we ain't doing that.
My nephew Nick, who's here with me for this live reaction, he's got my little baby in her high chair next to him. So if you hear some chitter chatter, you know what's going on. Let's keep going.
Bet.
But it stored the image anyway to a separate folder. Now this doesn't seem to
Okay, I want to address this.
Operating like the ones we researched, the radar module triggered the camera module to take a picture of me. Then the onboard AI looked for a license plate and didn't find one. But it stored the image anyway.
So
wow.
It stored the image anyway,
so
knowing that it
boom.
Wasn't what it was looking for.
And there's 2 folders.
License
that's
plate,
very
and
clear.
I don't know.
That's very clear.
That's suspicious.
Yeah,
that's
what else
weird.
are they capturing if it's only license plates? Yep, you're so cool.
My baby thinks it's suspicious too. Yeah.
Anyway to a separate folder. Now this doesn't seem to target people. It will also take a picture of my hand if I move it in front of the lens, or a picture of my desk if I move the device. But what I observed were the devices intentionally saving the footage, not erasing it. Secondly, throughout the entire process of verifying John's research, I didn't crack or decrypt a single thing. Any of the information, footage, or data that you see or hear about in this video was unencrypted at runtime. And finally, when going through the files and temp folders of the Falcon cameras, we absolutely found images older than 7 days. In fact, John found stored images that were captured when the camera was triggered inside the factory where the device was made. So hypothetically, this suggests that if you had a camera deployed and pointed at your front door, one could access this data and figure out when you entered or exited your house.
Wow.
Boom. And so doxing, do you understand what that means?
No, like this is, I haven't seen this, so I don't know.
So doxing what that means is, let's say you're a police investigator on a highly informationally sensitive case where let's say you're an undercover cop and somebody blows your cover, that's doxing. So it's
putting law enforcement in danger too.
Doxing is internet cover blowing.
Oh.
That's what that means. That's where doxing, you're giving out everyone's personal information. So for example, you see ICE agents going out and doing work, and then their information even is getting put out. This isn't just, you get me, like, this isn't just to the civilian.
Yeah,
our
like
own
law
people
enforcement's
are getting
targeted by this too.
Yes, and then their information is just as freely accessible as the civilian.
So this is pretty much allowing, I mean, the highest bidder really to have power to blackmail people, is what it seems like.
You can literally find someone and do whatever at that point. You know
That's
where they're at
horrible.
all times.
Like, if you think about it, guys, I mean, people will say, well, if you're not doing anything, don't worry about it. But it's like, dude, do you want every moment of your life recorded and shared publicly all the time? Like,
let me put it like this. I am a novice computer. I have novice computer skills. And I know I could figure out how to basically, and think about it like this, it's not just that like the police are able to access this. Let's say you're trying to get away from somebody. Like, let's say you have an abusive ex-boyfriend or something like that, and that guy is super weirdo. And wow,
he has some tech skills.
He has tech skills, and even though you're thousands of miles away, all he has to do is look up your Facebook profile, take your Facebook profile, run an image generator through all the flock cameras until it dings on your face, and now they know where you're at.
Well, oh, that's scary.
See what I'm saying?
That's really scary.
Because it's not just, that's where people can try to say that this is just for government use, but obviously this is clearly shown anybody with enough skills can do this.
By the way, for those of you who are curious, we're talking about the flock cameras, and we're watching and doing a blind reaction to this video that my nephew has brought up.
We hacked flock safety cameras in under 30 seconds. Let's go ahead and also by Benn Jordan.
By Benn Jordan. So if you guys have been watching my talks about this, I've actually shared one of Benn Jordan's interviews on one of the news channels. I think this guy is very, very educated on this topic. Anyway, we'll continue.
For about as long as modern search engines have existed, so has dorking. So Googling looks like this, and dorking looks like this, and if you're really well versed in dorking, you'll start finding things that weren't necessarily intended to be public. I'm a pretty solid dorker, and I use it constantly for researching videos like this one. Josh, however, is a legitimate expert at dorking.
So I'm Joshua Michael. I'm technology obsessive, and I founded Nexina AI, which is a all-source intelligence firm focusing in privacy and personal cybersecurity.
This is the exact Google search I used to find an exposed flock safety demo site, reveal how their system traces cars, maps patrol vehicles, and can soon build full investigation profiles on people. At first glance, it was a UI demo site meant to just show off how cool their buttons look. As I looked deeper, it contained 5,000 lines of source code for a search platform, and buried in the code was a live API key.
And an API stands.
And so, just to address this a little bit, where he goes to do that is all right here, this is the whatchamacallit thing that I use to build websites for, Visual Studio Code. So when he's saying downloading the source code, this is the source code for your menu on your website. And so that's the source code for the menu on your website. So he has a file that I could go copy and paste it into this, and now I have the full application that he's talking about.
Now, by the way, guys, we're not going to do that because that is illegal. And we do have to disclaim, we don't want you guys to be trying to do this stuff.
But it's that easy.
But it is that easy.
It is literally that easy.
Stands for Application Programming Interface, which basically allows a computer to contact another computer without having to deal with all the clunky things like user interfaces and buttons. The confidentiality of API keys and tokens like this are sometimes more important than things like usernames and passwords, because in many cases, the token alone grants you the same access but without front-end security measures like CAPTCHA or two-step verification.
And it had access to over 50 private layers that I didn't dare touch because I'm too handsome for prison. I used open source intelligence to see what data is stored in ArcGIS ArcGIS, let me show you some of the things I found. The police departments and flock safety are storing on ArcGIS. This flock safety map, it's obviously a demo, but it shows that they'd store registration data. So names, emails, how many cameras, and a field to attach files, whatever that may be. Carrollton Police Department, this is no good. The exposed API key may have granted us access to track live patrol car locations.
Wow, so
that puts our law enforcement in danger.
And I want to tell you how, so you saw how I copied that link to access your stream, that's an API key. So all this man is telling me he did is he found that same link because all those cameras are streaming the same way you're streaming on YouTube right now. So all he did was found the key for those cameras and is now able to access that entire system that one camera is connected to. All of those surrounding cameras included.
That's concerning.
Also on the naughty list is Aurora, Colorado, or maybe Flock Safety. I don't actually know who owns this map. It's Flock Safety. Leaking another ArcGIS layer with officers' names, phone numbers, emails, and even their expected patrol areas. This is the worst one coming out of Dallas, Texas. A map layer with 6,000 records of hot list alerts.
So these are all police officers.
Guys, that's not safe for our law enforcement, guys. Flock needs to be held accountable for this. I don't want them in Gila County at all.
Any license plate, the reasons why they're on that list, the exact location detected, the camera that caught them, and the time that they went by. Anyone could Google, find this map, and trace these people's movement patterns for 5 months. Also going to note the reason category has someone in there for just suspect, and a bunch of others literally have no reason and are blank.
Oh no, those were actually, but what he's saying is that it's even recording police vehicles, so.
I wonder if it can chime into like their dash cams too.
Yeah, if it's all basically using on the same Wi-Fi network, then yes.
That's concerning because I feel like, okay, if somebody was investigating a case like you said with like the undercover police, that like leaves them way open.
Right, because anybody, let's say you're an undercover police officer investigating a cartel issue. And I pulled them up specifically because they have the resources for this. All they need to do is get one of their tech guys on it. Then bow, they're tracking the police the same way the police are tracking them. The same exact way,
So
using the same exact.
basically, like this is so easy that pretty much the bad guys have free access to it already. Like,
free access.
Think about that, guys. Like they have access to it too. It's not just law enforcement.
Nope.
And it can take 30 seconds to do it if you have access to one of these cameras.
The longest, the guy who did the original hack said the longest thing you have to wait for is your hotspot to turn on.
Guys, we don't need to be associating with this company in Gila County. They are not to be trusted. Like, if you guys want to do traffic cameras or whatever, I'm not for it, but if the one purpose for this for you is to keep law enforcement and to help them, this is actively putting their lives in danger.
Let's back it up for a second. If you call 911 and the dispatcher deems it an emergency requiring police, most modern police cars have a GPS module installed that reports back to dispatch. That way they can efficiently contact the police nearest the event and expedite the response time. Flock Safety and many of its clients use third-party services that make sense of this constant stream of data, and all of that data is handled with an API. Just a few weeks ago, 2 security researchers, Alexa Feminawa and James Zhang, wrote a report discovering that ArcGIS had been compromised by a Chinese state-sponsored hacking group called Flex Typhoon.
So now China's getting in on it too.
The Chinese are already in on it.
Well, we kind of knew that, but it's one of those things. It's like, so are we just gonna lay down and let them at this point? You know.
A report from InfoSecurity magazine states the hackers allegedly targeted a legitimate public-facing ArcGIS application. This is software that allows organizations to manage spatial data for disaster recovery, emergency management, and other critical functions. This is just a very recent example of what could be compromised with.
So it's not just our human data from our interactions. Let's think about it like this. We can, or let's say government adversaries. So let's say another government. Let's say Iran. Iran wants to get they want to get a real exact map of Arizona. So all they have to do is access all the flock cameras and then take pictures with all the flock cameras and use some.
They got a map right there.
Yes, and then I'm talking detail, the full thing. Like, they know every spot to hit, and they can use some extra, because I know there's, like, technology. I don't want to go too deep into this, because that's going to be another
It's a
rabbit
whole
hole.
other rabbit hole, guys.
But basically, they can use sonar technology through Wi-Fi to 3D map. Actually, they've literally mapped everything.
They've already mapped everything.
But you feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So they can use these cameras to do the same thing much better.
And guys, we understand, and I just want to disclaim this. We understand that our phone cameras, our laptop cameras, all of that do track our data, and they do have access to VideoS. I don't know in detail all about it, but I know if someone really wanted to watch, they could. The point is our government
Now this is
should have the brakes pumped
Let's
on
be
them.
honest. If you don't want to have a phone and you want to be able to get away from the cameras and all that stuff,
You
you're
should
not
be
gonna
able to.
and you can't now.
Yeah. So, yeah, you can have freedom or you can have security.
Yep.
Like, you can't have both.
Both.
And apparently this extra security measure that we have isn't real secure.
No, and it's going to greatly
Endanger us.
infringe on
Yeah.
our freedoms.
Yeah, and by the way, I am a Second Amendment person, so if you're going to do anything, like anybody wants to target me, I just want everybody to remember that.
We all are.
Sensitive API information for geospatial platforms. This is probably, in real-world scenarios, the least concerning vulnerability in this video, but one of the most fascinating ones, and very few consumer or security cameras, displays, or network manufacturers have the means or know how to test for it. At some level, this device that you're watching this video on is leaking non-ionizing electromagnetic radiation, and if the R word is unsettling, non-ionizing means no DNA damage. Phones leak it, monitors leak it, microphones leak it, camera modules leak it, most modern electronic devices leak it. But some of these leaking electromagnetic waves are resonating and modulating in parity with the signal, and if you can isolate the resonating frequencies, you can, with a lot of trial and error, decode the signal, or in other words, spy on the device. The Tempest attack is something that the CIA and NSA used and experimented with ever since World War II, which is how it got its cool-sounding name. Back when we all used CRT televisions and monitors, there was
That man is using FL Studios in the background. Anyway, sorry.
We all used CRT televisions and monitors, there was generally a whole lot more RF leakage, so it was a much bigger risk to national security. These days, a practical Tempest attack would involve some time finding and decoding the signal, and then placing an RF bug on or near the source, which could transmit the data remotely. You need a software-defined radio with a lot of bandwidth, RF probes, a directional antenna, and a spectrum analyzer. On the newer Flock satellite cameras, I noticed that there was an unusual amount of RF leakage coming from the camera module itself, the proprietary coaxial port, and the 8-pin DIN port on the back. Initially, using an RF probing kit, an oscilloscope, a spectrum analyzer, and a hack RF, I was able to isolate a few various ranges of modulated signals. Then I brought the camera into another room to rule out localized interference and tested these signals as well as common integer quotients of those frequencies.
Sorry, Jeffrey, we're live.
Using an RF probe, I found an exploitable leak between 592 and 594 megahertz. Then, using a periodic log antenna and a 20 decibel low noise amplifier, I was able to point the RF gun at the device as far as 6 feet away and make out what the camera was capturing.
Oh,
So
you know
this
what?
man using a satellite to just point at the device, and he's able to hack into it.
Let me send Jeffrey a text real quick and make sure he didn't need anything because he just dropped off my other 2 kiddos. Give me just a second, guys. Sorry. I just want to make sure that this guy doesn't need anything before I start back up. Buttercup. Let's see. Let's see. I'm live. Is everything okay?
Hey, baby.
So, okay. Perfect. Okay. Pretty much allowing.
We'll start finding things that weren't necessarily intended to.
Cool.
How are we doing? Are we done?
No. I'm just
We're
checking.
still live?
Yeah, I'm just
okay.
checking to make sure that.
Do we have anybody showing up?
Not yet.
Okay, that's okay.
In this case, me. Obviously, the quality and lack of color leaves a lot.
Hey, chill out.
Carrie May, what are you doing, Carrie May?
Bless you.
So, my little cutie over there, let's see what he had to say. We'll read it and see. go. He's
Hold on.
fine.
Greg.
Baby Carrie is a party,
Greg.
getting it up in the chill.
Leave distracted. Just shake the bear in front of her. You can be on the phone and stuff. But yeah, I'm pulled over soon.
She is, you know, if she could crawl around on the floor, she'd probably be very happy.
You want her? Is that alright?
Yeah, just keep an eye on her because she likes the floor snacks, but she doesn't know how to eat them yet. Little kiddo. Yeah, I say floor snacks.
Put her on her.
I'm pretty sure that my toddlers have ate some of the most feral things ever. We'll just say that.
Alright, we're chilling.
We're chilling. How's everybody doing? We're gonna start again on our blind reaction to We Hacked Flock Safety Cameras in Under 30 Seconds by Benn Jordan. We're about 18 minutes into it, and we're gonna keep going.
A lot to be desired, but that's just because the software-defined radio I was using to pick this up just didn't have the bandwidth for that kind of quality. If someone were to use a professional-grade multi-channel SDR board with higher resolution sample rates, the quality of the Tempest Attack output can be nearly as good as its source. But due to the high cost of equipment and the knowledge and do not need to be super government, this is just my opinion here, but most of these things are entirely preventable and the result of prioritizing growth over painfully obvious industry standard security measures like multi-factor authentication. Another really obvious low-hanging fruit here is using mobile phone operating systems and hardware for a government surveillance camera. The Falcon, the Sparrow.
So they're literally using the same chipsets that's inside your phone currently. So it's just as easy as hacking into another phone.
And likely Flex LPR devices, or the cameras you most commonly see all over the country, were running Android Things 8 or 8.1, which was discontinued in 2021, and that includes security updates.
Alright, so you know how your phone gets constant security updates?
Mm-hmm.
That's literally because people are finding new ways to hack into it constantly. And so what they're just saying is that the last time the operating system for the cameras was updated was back in 2012.
Oh boy.
Meaning every exploit that everybody has learned, like, you feel me? Every exploit.
It's been a long time,
and
and
never
there's
been
been
updated.
a lot of hacking that's
Never
happened
been
and
updated.
hasn't been dealt with either.
So literally these guys figured it all out and they never updated it.
And they probably knew about it, and that's the bad part.
At this time, there are over 900 published vulnerabilities for this OS. Like, someone please explain to me why there.
So we have 900 known ways to break that operating system.
So they have published.
Published, because you have to. That's part of that whole. That's part of debugging. You have to publish that because that's you calling it out. So that way, if someone tries the exploit in the future, it doesn't happen.
So this has been going on since 2012, and these things are still popping up in small
for this
communities.
operating system. I think that's what he said. I could be wrong.
Let's double check that.
We're running Android Things 8 or 8.1, which was discontinued in 2021.
2021. My
so
apologies.
it was going until 2021.
So that's 5 years ago now.
Yeah. If they didn't care then,
The latest
they didn't.
update was 5 years ago for their security features for these cameras. The last update for the security feature for these cameras was 5 years ago.
Guys, do you realize the implications of this? They haven't done anything about it.
And that includes security updates. At this time, there are over 900 published vulnerabilities for this OS. Like, someone please explain to me why there are even cameras in the wild recording public activity that aren't even running on supported software. If your phone or your computer or your home security system stopped being supported and you understood how bad this could make your life, you'd probably be inclined to throw them in the garbage.
Flock's response.
The way this is supposed to work is when you discover a vulnerability, you attempt to reach out to the company and you give them a 90-day window to release a patch. No shout-out, reward, compensation, or bounty is required. However, after those 90 days pass, the discoverer can then post a detailed write-up. Alternatively, some...
Because literally, like, basically the same way that you can find contract gigs the way that I do off apps, high-level developers, they have websites where they're posting like, hey, like Samsung, the phone companies, whoever is like, we need somebody to try and break into our system to find anything. And so now that's what that option A is that.
Well, they need to. Well, now they've made the mistakes, and they've let it happen apparently.
And so after 90 days, if the company doesn't do anything about the exploit, you're allowed to post that information for free. Because before the 90-day period, you can get sued.
Oh wow.
But after 90 days, it's completely legal. You can post it all.
Go the bug bounty route, where you report it and get a monetary or reputational reward. However, as explained by John and Josh, this route has commonly started to include non-disclosure agreements. This means that even if the company decides not to pay a reward, the discoverer cannot legally disclose the issue publicly.
So they did offer me a bug bounty. It wasn't very specific.
Yeah, pay people to get them to shut up.
Exactly.
And it included an NDA prior to knowing anything more. I don't think you're going to improve cybersecurity as a whole through not talking about it.
Early February, I reached out. I disclosed, I want to say 7 to 12 vulnerabilities maybe for the license plate reader and the gunshot detection. They responded within like a day and a half and immediately asked for a video chat, in which, I obliged, talking about joint PR statements and so on and so forth. What ended up happening was they released a PR statement about a month and a half before the 3 months ended, so pretty fairly quickly, without telling me, without referencing me or referencing the issues that I ended up publishing. They also never gave me any confirmation that anything was fixed.
There's something really unnerving about going on.
So those guys do pretty much similar stuff. I don't want to say too
They've
much.
submitted the evidence that there
Yes.
was a problem. These guys are trained professionals. This is what they do for a living. They go through and they make sure that things are secured. Payson, Arizona, Gila County, we need to have our own tech guys explore this, because I don't think that there's been honesty going on here. I think there's been a lot of sweeping under the rug and a lot of, it benefits the community, and not necessarily like the truth, because these guys are apparently doing nothing about it, and I'm real upset about it. We can continue.
On record with legislators or media and talking about national security. I don't fully understand what defines a threat to national security, and it seems like the type of topic where you don't want to make any mistakes. So I just didn't mention it and kept that term out of my mouth, and I just provided our research to those who could. And according to Oregon Senator Wyden and Illinois Representative Krishnamurthy, well, in their words, Flock has unnecessarily exposed Americans' sensitive personal data to theft by hackers and foreign spies.
Yeah, they were worried about TikTok, guys. Don't worry though.
With personal, in their words, Flock, Oregon Senator Wyden and Illinois Representative Krishnamurthy.
Wasn't that is so funny to me. We don't want TikTok to exist because of China, but our flock cameras actively,
record everything and is given straight to China.
and they're letting them do it, guys. They're letting them do it.
These two senators called out that all of Americans' personal data has been compromised and given to foreign nationals.
Yeah, so
Well, in their words, Flock
while
has
they'll talk
unnecessarily
about it on the
exposed.
news, while they'll talk about Russia and China being an issue, they don't have a problem selling our data to them, apparently. Or, Flock Camera's not doing that, obviously, directly, but they're not stopping it.
No, these guys have literally said Flock has unnecessarily exposed Americans' sensitive personal data to theft by hackers.
I want
and
them
foreign
taken
spies.
down. I want them all down, dude.
While Flock offers support for multi-factor authentication, which is you have to get
The
a
key
text
or
or
whatever.
something, is widely recognized cybersecurity best practice. Flock does not require it, which the company confirmed to Congress in October. Moreover, Flock continues to support insecure methods, such as sending a numeric code to a phone by text message, which is vulnerable to interception and phishing.
So the hacker might as well just have your wallet, have your kid's location, have your location. Just puts a whole other thing in my mind with my children.
Exactly.
Because if they're selling, obviously these people can't be trusted with our kids, yet alone constant surveillance of them.
So just pulling up for people.
I'm getting mad, guys. I'm getting madder the more I hear about this.
Phishing is a cyber attack using fraudulent emails, texts, or calls to trick people into revealing sensitive data or installing malware by impersonating trusted sources like banks or companies. Now, while it's saying trusted sources like banks or companies, recognize that AI is also a tool now. So think about this. They can record your face with the flock cameras, record your voice with whatever you've been using, including this live stream. And then they can impersonate, they can make an AI version of you, Cindy Lister. They have all your facial data, they have your voice data, and then let's say you're out on the range.
Well, they can do whatever they want with it, man.
Jeff,
They can.
well, watch this. They know Jeff's phone number, they know your phone number. You get a call from Jeff saying, hey, I'm in so much trouble right now, da-da-da-da-da, I need you to send me this money right now, da-da-da-da-da. And it sounds like Jeff, you
Which,
could
by the
video
way,
call
guys,
and
if somebody
look at him.
tries that, we ain't got no money. So, just
But
keep
you
that
hear
out of your
me,
mind.
because this is the threat. Because they can literally not just impersonate banks or companies now, they can impersonate you as an individual with all of this data.
Oh, I see the problem, man. I see it.
And so phishing is that's why I call the point what phishing is, because they're social engineering using scams that rely on manipulation, often featuring urgent requests, fake links, or malicious attachments to steal money or identify with common types or attached to steal money or identities with common types including spear phishing, different types. But basically, or voice phishing, it says phishing.
They're taking the information that they're getting from the flock cameras and they're using them to extort people.
Because
that's all I need to know.
Because basically voice phishing is already happening where like I'm seeing a bunch of older people getting calls from their children, for example, young adult children or middle-aged children, requesting they need money right now. And then boom, they'll call their kids back 10 minutes later, hey, I just sent you the money. What are you talking about? I never called you. I never asked for that. What are you talking about?
Well, if my grandma is watching this, if I ask you for money, we'll just ask for it in cash.
Yeah.
We can meet. Granny, I will never ask you for money. Just on the phone. Let's just say that would not happen. And by the way, if anyone's wanting to scam me, just know that you'll be real broke because I could probably just give you some of my debt. That would be like it.
But then, like, if you want to, say like, all right, so you know about voice phishing now. So you go, all right, well, get me on. Let's video chat really quick so that I can verify that it's you. Guess what? They have all the flock camera data now, so they can literally create a fake video feed with all of your facial recognition data, just like the AIs do with their literal live.
Yep.
You see my point?
It's a whole thing.
Sorry, I just wanted to break that down.
Makes me
it goes
anxious
back
and
to
angry
flock.
if you guys are like, oh, this lady's like getting irritated. It's because it's irritating to me to watch my freedom get taken away and my children's freedom. It's BS.
Because what is this world about to be in 10 years?
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but after Operation Paperclip, I don't trust these folks.
Nope.
Americans' sensitive personal data to theft by hackers and foreign spies. Part of my research was trying to figure out just how effective the adoption of flock safety and similar ALPR services have been at reducing crime rates or increasing crime clearance rates, and this is a deceptively difficult task. For example, let's do what most people concerningly do these days and ask Google and let AI answer it for us. Well, hey, there you have it. Let's maybe look at those actual sources, though. By the way, I want to take a moment to congratulate Flock Safety on their search engine optimization skills. It's so good that even services that only exist to help companies improve their SEO are like, bro, sorry, it's literally impossible to improve beyond your elite talent. This means that whenever you want to find information about Flock Safety or ALPRs or police cameras, Flock is going to be the most prominent and influential force in your...
So they've literally partnered with Google to make sure that if you Google anything about flock cameras,
all you'll
it's
hear
about
is the positive stuff. By the way, guys, there are other platforms you can use to Google if you are really tired of the, that. What is it?
Go.go
is one that you can use to do independent research where it won't just bring the favorites that Google has to the top.
I'm trying to think what other.
What's another one that they can use?
I know GoDaddy does something like that too.
GoDaddy does too for the more, how do I say this? They can't pay Google money to make their stuff go to the top. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
They pride themselves on being like unbiased.
Pure
Google,
search engine optimization.
Sorry, but Google's very biased.
...in initial results, and subsequently, so will the AI assistants answer. More on that hellscape in a future video. But hey, look, some studies. Let's check them out. Okay, so only 2 of these studies took place after flock safety was even incorporated, and they tell us nothing about the efficacy of surveillance or data collection. Flock Safety's website claims that 10% of all crime in America is solved using their services, which is a pretty impressive thing to brag about. However, the source that they cite this claim with was a research paper created by 2 Flock Safety employees that doesn't really outline regional analysis. In other words, crime has been dropping nationally in America since 2021, even in the last year. The first thing that I personally...
So Flock has nothing to do with crime dropping. Crime's just been dropping.
But they've been claiming that they're the reason why.
And they're using their own employees' research to try and back
That's
it.
like saying, my cousin Martinello here loves my food. It's the best ever. Believe it.
personally would want to look for is a crime rate and clearance comparison between cities that use flock safety services and cities that do not. And when you do it that way, it's extremely difficult to find any meaningful changes related to surveillance technology in general. But there have been other studies not directly related to the surveillance industry. The National Policing Institute did a multi-site evaluation and said that license plate readers can improve public safety, but the technology's impact depends on its implementation. It could just be me, but this sounds quite a bit different than what Flock's CEO is saying.
Over 5,000 cities leverage Flock to solve north of 14% of all crimes in America. But Flock's story is an Atlanta story.
Man, hold on, I want to go back.
14% of all crimes in America. But Flock's story is an Atlanta story.
Yeah.
Do I trust this man?
It's not that I don't trust him. I think that boy's there for money.
Yeah,
that's it.
Because that's what I trust him in the sense
you
that
don't
he's
care
there
about
for
your
money.
safety. Like
You
I
don't
don't
care
get that
about the
vibe from
safety.
him.
Nah, Garrett, let's be honest,
no judgment.
buddy.
Like I hope that you find Jesus, homie. If that's like.
I bet he'll say he has too.
You know, but you know, woe with thou who saith a lie.
Hey,
am I right?
Am I? Yo, that is perfect.
From the scriptures, bro. I don't know where, but that is scripture.
Story. We can now rest assured that if a crime happens in South Downtown, it will be solved.
It wasn't.
Downtown, it will be solved.
It was.
Woe with thou who maketh the lie, bro.
Yep.
Wasn't.
Useful and
In 2023, the Berkeley Police Accountability Board did some data diving and found that ALPRs in other California communities were sometimes more correlated with increases in vehicle theft and lower crime clearance rates.
Oh, it's almost like the bad guys had access to the cameras too.
So wow, they actually found that more crime increased around flock camera usage.
I wonder why that could be.
Crazy, especially in California.
That's
wow.
suspicious. That's weird.
Are we surprised?
In the case of Bakersfield, California, it was only after ALPRs were installed when the city rose to have the highest motor vehicle theft rate in the United States. The board also noticed that flock...
I mean, I'm not just like I'm not the type of person who steals cars. Even in my outlaw days, I wasn't a car thief. But if I was a car thief, flock cameras would be the way, man, because all I'd have to do is walk by a car that I like, look at the license plate.
Well, and think about this. Most cars have computers inside of them now, too.
It's the whole thing.
So it's like the same tools that you're using to get into the flock cameras you're going to use to get in the car.
By the way, I do not encourage car theft. I'm just saying, like, they just made the game so easy to steal cars.
Very.
Safety had claimed their services were responsible for a 33% decrease in motor vehicle thefts in Vacaville, California, but were citing data from years before the cameras were even installed. Which brings us to Oakland, California, and in full transparency, I've been informally consulting with and sharing some of the
Shout out Oakland. I love Oakland. Sorry.
This research with their city council, who had just delayed a vote on a $2.25 million expansion to its flock safety network. Flock Safety's public website claims that their services have helped Oakland's violent crime clearance rate rise by 11%. Not bad. Well, actually kind of bad, because they failed to mention that violent crime decreased by 19% in that period, which is on par with the FBI crime stats for the entire country. They also conveniently failed to mention that in 2023, Oakland had a violent crime clearance rate of 3%, and that was later acknowledged as an error by the police department themselves, and this was a pretty big news story last year. And the Oakland Police Department were the ones to acknowledge and confirm the error in the first place. So how are so many cities like this failing to call bullshit on these types of claims that may result result in millions of tax dollars being spent on these services. This is what I keep running into again and again when researching the efficacy.
These guys.
Let's
look at how much our town's paying these guys to mishandle our information.
Payson flock camera budget.
Oh wow, the first one that popped up when we saw it. That's
Hey,
fun.
you were.
Hey! Flock cameras, I got keyed too, homie. Flock Safety has a Payson PD transparency portal.
Hey, you
That's
know what?
rich.
We're gonna go to go.
GoDaddy?
Go.
Oh, go, duck, go. Yeah.
Duck,
There
duck,
we go.
go.
Duck,
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 go.
go.
Duck, duck, go. New. Let's see.
Payson flock camera budget.
Let's see what DuckDuckGo has to say, folks. By the way, you can use DuckDuckGo if you don't want, how do I put this? Biased search results. That's a thing. But we're going to go directly to Flock Safety's website and see if we can't get it from them, maybe. Or, you know, maybe we could just call at some point, call the Payson Police Department and ask them directly. Or we could even ask the city council. I hear they have elections coming up. Sorry. Yeah, she'll go to sleep here in just a minute. Let's see. Annual fee per neighbor. What is that about?
So, this is for a residential installation. So this is where you, as a resident of your neighborhood or whatever.
So this is like the cost for HOAs, basically, where everybody signs up to use the flock camera system, is what I'd have to guess, right?
Oh, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Like these are for the HOA, like neighborhood usage.
Yep.
Like this is their cost, but we're gonna kind of take a look at theirs to see what ours would cost.
Yeah, because this is where they're not actually.
Why can't we find a direct like line to that? Maybe it's on the Payson PD website.
Whoops, not that.
Or City of Payson.
Of Payson.
Or Gila County might have one too. Maybe it's a, or it could even be on the state budget. That's another thing too.
Camera budget.
By the way, if you guys have any information on that, like who actually, if it's a state thing, which I think it actually might be a state program, flock camera might be. Because why does it seem like all these towns seem to have them? Let's see. By the way, if you guys are into local stuff in Payson, my Payson Rodeo again, people, I want to meet with you. But we'll talk about that another time. Let's see. What does it say that we're paying?
So, for Payson Common Council, they voted unanimously to accept 2 state grant awards.
2 state grant awards. Why am I not surprised by that?
Council approved a Department of Public Safety Local Border Support grant to lease 18 license plate reader cameras and analytics through a vendor network, which is Flock.
It's Flock.
The 1-year grant is structured as a lease. The initial award totals about $125,600, with $75,000 proposed for LPR cameras, Flock cameras, and $50,600 for overtime and interdiction related expenses. Meaning,
man, that sounds like the type of thing that could, you know,
this
go into like a pool project instead of being surveilled.
What does interdiction related expenses mean?
Go ahead and read it to us. I don't got my glasses on.
Interdiction, related expenses.
So we have the flock cameras in Payson, but they're on lease basically for the year,
This
right?
generally refers to costs associated with drug interdiction and counter drug activities by government agencies. But wait. Why? How is that even happening?
Yeah, so this entire thing is garbage.
How is that even possible?
Like this doesn't even tell the truth.
So we're lying on the Payson AZPD transparency portal, last updated Saturday, January 10th, 2026, yesterday. Literally
right after
yesterday.
I freaking had my talk this week. What do you want to bet?
Literally. And now they're telling us that $50,000 are going to traffic violations and drug operations, narcotic
So
operations.
basically, they are using that for
utilizing
things
this.
other than license plate reading.
Yes.
So that's a blatant freaking
That's a
lie.
blatant lie.
That's a blatant lie.
That is a blatant lie.
There's no other way to take that.
Yeah, that's a blatant lie.
Wow.
They are not using this information
Guys,
for
that-
simple traffic violations.
This is.
And if they're using that for those materials, for those purposes, that means they are literally tracking face and what do you call it? They're literally using it for immigration. They have to be. What else is interdiction? Immigration enforcement. They're using it for traffic enforcement.
They just said in their own town, like right there, they just said it that they were.
Boom, right here. $50,000 for overtime and interdiction related expenses. So so overtime on the cops to make them work more.
So basically, they're finding out that there was a crime. They're going back later and they're looking it up on flock cameras. That's what that sounds like to me.
Yeah, quite literally. I don't know what else.
And then
how
flock
else-
cameras
yeah.
is selling that data back to them. Is what that sounds like
Yeah.
to me.
So basically, that's how they get around it is by saying since you're downloading the data from the flock website, now your local police department is able to hold it for 30 days.
Oh, so
That's
okay.
where that data retention comes in, is what I'm assuming is how they're trying to get around that.
I gotcha.
Because Flock technically only holds it for 7.
You know, I feel
If
like
that's true.
this in itself needs a town council meeting. Guys, there's no other way to put it. Like, he just showed you on his computer. Like, he just showed you where the uh-oh is, and I'm concerned, and I'm kind of angry, if I'm being honest, because they are playing and lying in our faces on this one, from what I can tell.
The next sentence says, police staff said the system will provide vehicle fingerprinting for investigative leads, access to a statewide national LPR network.
Okay, so it goes far beyond the license plate reading that they say that it does.
And analytics package that can also produce an anonymized roadway usage information for town planning.
For town planning. Well, I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, I don't understand what we're going to be using real time. Why don't you just take a
Doesn't
picture
that
of the town?
sound a little
Why don't you just draw a
social
map?
score
Why do you need a
to you?
live feed of the whole thing for town planning?
Yeah, that sounds like a social score project, and I'm not down with it.
Right. Let's go back
By
to
the way, I just want any powers that be. I will not submit, and I will keep talking, so I just want that to be noted.
Of police surveillance technology. A private business will cite statistics that are often misleading, and somehow nobody from these cities or police departments seem to have actually validated the information quoted in the sales pitches.
Snake oil versus science. My favorite.
So all of this aside, even if we're not considering all of these questionable data sources in marketing, sociology is an incredibly chaotic field of study, one that typically requires decades of adeptly sourced data to accurately suggest whether a technology or a policy change
So let
reduces
me guess.
crime.
Pause
For
just
decades.
1 second. He's gonna go into technology being brought to law enforcement and then it being set up with no limits so it gets used for more than what it was intended for.
Yes, and then also basically what he's going to go into specifically is how they're using the data from before flock cameras were ever installed to try and argue to bring flock cameras in.
Oh, so they're gonna try and bring us up on charges from like 10 years ago.
And then, well, I don't know if they can do that, but
The
they can
implications
definitely,
are there.
Yes, and then what they're gonna also, they have to basically when he starts going into sociology, what they're using this for is to video monitor us so that they can have
Control us.
They can have a constant psychological evaluation of us. 'Cause
Which, I mean, they do already.
Right, but you see what I mean? Because literally your phone knows when you're depressed based on your thumb patterns. It knows
Yeah.
every emotion that you're on based on your thumb patterns.
I just don't like that my data is apparently very easily accessed by anyone.
We've been trying to figure out if an increase in police can even reduce crime. So at the very least, there should be an independent, robust meta-analysis to figure out how effective private surveillance and data sharing is before we take money away from other resources to pay for it.
So we haven't even tested. They're trying to say that basically before science, like, because you know how you have to test in science the hypothesis. Their hypothesis is flock cameras will decrease crime activity.
But it's not proven.
This never been proven. They're just immediately saying that it will and going ahead and rolling it out.
So we've seen how many lies come out of the flock camera people now?
Multiple.
Multiple, and he's called it out.
And he said there's 42 multiple confirmed built-up cases.
They are not an honest company. I'm sorry. We, the American people, shouldn't be doing business with flock camera, period.
Right? And without getting too philosophical here, it is worth considering for a second that catching people committing crimes is very different than total antisocial or criminal events. Like a thief or a serial killer or a drug dealer or a drug addict is not going to see a bunch of police cameras and then just tap out from crime and become a plumber. They're just going to commit crimes in a more obfuscated way, which more often than not complicates the process of finding a reformative solution. By the way, what an exhausting amount of sociology studies have figured out over the last 50 solutions.
So having more flock cameras is not going to decrease crime. It's going to make the criminals more intelligent. And instead of addressing the actual issues for why they're committing crimes itself, we're only addressing how to catch them.
Well, it's like putting out mice traps. It only makes the mice more secretive.
Exactly.
By the way, what an exhausting amount of sociology studies have figured out over the last 50 years is that high levels of surveillance drastically decreases well-being, morale, and even workplace productivity. If you think about that for a moment, it shouldn't really surprise anyone. If you have a job where you think your superiors are constantly watching you and judging your every move, you'll be concerned with appearing to be productive instead of learning and developing your skills at your natural speed. Or consider this recent study that strongly suggests that high levels of surveillance causes a steep decline in voluntary visual processing, meaning that it quite literally impairs the brain's ability to process and recognize human faces. And
you're subconsciously gonna start blocking everything out because you know you're being scrutinized every single moment. And so literally that effect where he blurred the face
really impairs the brain's ability to process and recognize
of constant surveillance. You're going to start not recognizing anything. You're going to try and block out everything from your vision. That's why, when you think about it, a lot of these people in the inner cities, especially if you think about it, they're not like, it's not that they themselves are just distracted on life. It's that they're under so much constant surveillance pressure that their minds are literally, it's just how water moves. With, you know, your subconscious literally just goes, you know what, this is too much for me. Let me filter it out.
Yeah, that's scary.
Recognize human faces. And once again, this is one of those things that you hear and you're like, what? But when you think about it, it's not all that surprising. When you feel like you're in an environment where you are intrinsically not trusted, you're going to be far less likely to make friendly or meaningful social connections with others. And I'm sorry, but that just doesn't sound anything like a safe environment to me. And that's on top of an exhaustive amount of studies outlining exactly how and why increased surveillance decreases well-being and mental health. But some people seemingly only read the studies conducted by companies trying to sell them something.
Yeah. Believe me, I made the study.
Meet Mike Johnston, the mayor of Denver. At first, it seemed like he had the same careful agnosticism about flock safety cameras that many researchers have.
Our flock cameras are shut off to every federal agency, everyone outside the state of Colorado, everyone outside the city and county of Denver, and no one can access.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Sorry.
System other than Denver Police Department officers.
You could interpret all of the research that I showed you in this video however you like, but the way I interpreted it was that it technically demonstrated and proved that statement to be false. But guys, don't worry about this.
Could a federal law enforcement agency use this database to track someone down on an ice hold and arrest them? No, because the system is not designed to do that.
In just over a year of data of usage of Denver's flock safety services, queries openly admitting to be used for immigration services amounted to over 1,800. Mike even
blatantly lie.
And so let's go back. I just want to address this again. We're saying it's prohibited for use on immigration enforcement and pacing.
Yeah. We
see
see
it in Colorado, which is more
and
blue.
ICE is supposed to be moving into Phoenix this week.
Yeah, feel me? They've already been. Like,
well, they have been, but they're supposed to have another surge of ICE or whatever.
I believe it.
I don't have an article to quote to you guys on that one, but it's like.
Let's look it up.
Let's see.
What'd you say it was called?
ICE coming into Phoenix.
Surging in Phoenix.
Well, I mean, Phoenix is like. one of the top ones in the world for human traffic right now. Human trafficking, sadly.
Dude, it wants to go to the wave parks.
Oh.
Immigration.
Don't look at ICE and immigration. We want you to have a commercial for. I mean, the water park in Phoenix is pretty dope, though. I want to go. I'd like to go to the water park. I'm kind of a fish. Jeff can't swim though.
KJZZ.
KJZZ. Let's see.
91.5 Phoenix says reports say ICE will ramp up activity in Phoenix, and this was on January 8th. Governor Hobbs is concerned about community safety.
Yeah. Well, considering that they have a track record for using flock cameras. Oh, what is it that I heard that they're arresting dreamers now?
Well, because Trump took away dreamers' citizenship status.
Well, that really blows. I'm sorry. That sucks. Like, you were raised. I know some dreamers, by the way.
Let me make sure that's true.
Yeah, let's make sure that that's true before we're talking about that.
Dreamers Act. Hold up. Yeah, the Trump Dreamers Act refers to efforts primarily by the Trump administration to end or alter the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals DACA program, which protects young undocumented immigrants, dreamers, from deportation, while also hinting at potential legislative deals for a broader immigration solution through legislative passage of a DREAM Act, which has historically
is he stopping
failed.
it and like letting the ones who were grandfathered in on? Because like we went to school with kids who were dreamers, you know, like, and they grew up wanting to be American, and they thought they were American. So I'm curious to see what happened with that.
So let's go to the American Immigration Council website. What is the DREAM Act? It is proposed legislation, it hasn't passed yet, that would permanently protect certain immigrants who came to the United States as children but are vulnerable to deportation. Oh, wow. So actually...
It's the opposite.
It's the opposite, but then that's also where are dreamers protected now? Are dreamers...
Like the current dreamers. Like, I can understand, like, if he wanted to end the program, because it has been abused, right? But it's one of those things, it's like, okay, but you can't really... The kids who grew up here, you know, they're Americans now.
Okay, yes, dreamers with current deferred action for childhood arrivals remain protected for now, allowing them to renew status, but new initial applications are blocked, and the program faces ongoing legal challenges with calls for Congress to pass permanent legislation like the DREAM Act.
Which, we all knew that there were errors to that system and that it wasn't... There were problems. I was just curious to see if Trump was deporting. I had heard a rumor about that.
Well, and basically what they're saying is that new applications to renew dreamer status are basically being blocked.
Oh boy.
So people who are in the middle of trying to, you know, if you're on a green card or whatever, even if you're here legally, literally.
Well, guys, we're just saying that flock safety has been known to let ICE do whatever they want, apparently.
And let's be honest, I'm not, like, I understand, like, me personally, I'm not trying to go against the whole, because we should enforce
We do want to secure our borders, but like...
you're right, too, where these people are already Americans.
Well, they were already promised, you know, I was just worried about the people who were already promised citizenship, but they're not getting deported, because that's not fair. Like, you should follow your word. If you say that they're Americans when they're on American soil under this program, they should be. Yep. But if the program needs to end because it's being abused, which I think it has been, then obviously shutting it down and grandfathering in the people who were already on the program, I think that that's okay.
I think that's okay too.
Warns us of the grave dangers of cutting this data off from external communities.
I want to be clear that this is a risk on public safety. If you have someone that commits a crime in Lakewood and flees into Denver, they will not be able to find that person in Denver. You know, we had a trans woman who was kidnapped and murdered, picked up in Denver, murdered in Lakewood. We solved that crime because Denver and Lakewood could talk to each other across a flock camera database.
Except that didn't happen at all. He's referring to the death of Jax Grafton, which was not a solved murder. Jax's mother was more than happy to speak her mind about this.
I'm shocked and appalled that a public official would use my daughter and claim that flock had anything to do with her being found.
Fortunately, as a result of all of this bullshit and citizen backlash, the Denver City Council overwhelmingly voted to not renew the flock safety contract. And in their council letter on the issue, they went as far as calling out flock safety's ethics and credibility. And I quote, "We do not believe that the city and county of Denver should continue doing business with a company that has demonstrated such disregard for honesty and accountability."
So, as shady as Denver is, and we all know Denver is shady, even they don't want flock cameras. Let that sink in.
The city council of Denver literally said that this company, Flock, has demonstrated a disregard for honesty and accountability.
Wow! That's from CBS News. You guys won't believe it from me. You'll believe it right there. We do not believe the city and county of Denver should continue doing business with a company that has demonstrated such disregard for honesty and accountability.
The council members accused Johnston of deliberately evading city council oversight of the Flock agreement by violating city contracting rules.
Ooh, boy, guess what? In Payson, Arizona. Oh, Johnston.
Business with a company that has demonstrated such disregard for honesty and accountability. Whoa, now hold on. Before you celebrate your renewal of faith in humanity, Mayor Mike Johnson sidestepped City Council and signed the Flock safety contract anyway, which council members are now calling a backroom deal with a known bad actor. And all of this shit happened just in time for police to drive out from Columbine Valley, Colorado to knock on a woman's door in Denver with a summons wrongfully accusing her of...
Okay, wasn't there also, so while they had these flock cameras up, didn't that big thing with Colorado where the drug cartel literally took over an entire complex happen while this was going on too?
Yeah, I was there. I was actually out there while that was going on.
Flock cameras prevent crime, but we can't even stop a bunch of drug cartels.
What I'm going to tell you is, and I'm going to speak on this from somebody who has been a van lifer and has traveled the country on my van. They're using flock cameras to target those people because it's illegal to be homeless now.
Oh,
that's what they're trying to literally do.
That's so sad, guys. Because remember, Las Vegas had lost a bunch of homeless people.
Think about it. Where did they go?
Where did they go?
Where did all these homeless in Phoenix go? There's so many less homeless in Phoenix.
So if you're a homeless person and you saw something, we want to know about it. Tell us what you saw, what happened to your friends, because I kind of think what he thinks about it, that the flock cameras are also a way to get rid of undesirables.
Do you see what I'm saying?
This is all for educational, that part is, because I don't want you guys to quote me. I haven't done my research on that part.
Stealing a package in Colorado to knock on a woman's door in Denver with a summons. Time for police to drive out from Columbine Valley, Colorado to knock on a woman's door in Denver with a summons wrongfully accusing her of stealing a package off of someone's porch.
So how did they find her at all and track her all the way back to her house?
That's suspicious.
Any guesses on what technology they're citing as evidence?
Flock cameras.
You know we have cameras in that town and you can't get a breath of fresh air in or out of that place without us knowing, correct?
To be fair, that seems like a pretty safe prison city. While the officer refused to look at the overwhelming data.
To be fair, that seems like a pretty safe prison city. While the officer refused to look at
To be fair, that seems like a pretty safe prison city. While the officer refused to look at the overwhelming dash cam, porch camera, and Google Maps evidence exonerating the woman, fortunately, the police chief eventually did. But this makes one ponder. What's the result when this happens to a 19-year-old black dude?
Yeah, that's something to keep in mind too, because, sadly, stuff happens.
Notably, this year, people in communities across the United States have been increasingly concerned about or opposed to the rapid expansion of private surveillance in their communities. A lot of people have been noticing more and more of these little black cameras with the solar panels and just assume that they were innocently monitoring traffic flow or maybe giving a dispatcher a better idea of who or what to send to deal with an accident. But now they're finding out what they do and what they're capable of doing, or what to send to deal with an accident. But now
ICE taps into nationwide AI-enabled camera network, data shows.
Wow, doesn't it? Can you pull that up for me? Let's read that.
Let's pull this up.
Let's read it directly from the website, shall we? Directly from their own website.
ICE taps into nationwide enabled camera network. It's already a Google search. 404 Media. This was published back in May 27, 2025.
So pretty recently.
Data from a license plate scanning tool that is primarily marketed as surveillance solution.
Do we have
for
any
small
cases
towns.
specifically in Arizona where they've just did what they wanted? I want examples of it being misused, because I've read a lot of them, but I want people to actually see them for themselves where, they're not being honest. Flock is not being honest, and they need to be held accountable. And I don't want them in my town. I don't want them in my city. I don't want them in my state, and I don't want them in my nation. Get them out.
Let's go back to the 404 thing really quick. So, data from license plate scanning tool is primarily marketed as a surveillance solution for small towns to combat crimes like carjackings or finding missing people is being used by ICE, according to data reviewed by 404 Media. Local police around the country are performing lookups in Flock's AI-powered automatic license plate reader (ALPR) system. Automatic license plate reader (ALPR). That's what
ALPR. Okay.
System for immigration, related searches, and as part of other ICE investigations, giving federal law enforcement side door access to a tool that it currently does not have a formal contract for.
Wow, so it's almost like they're doing whatever they're wanting to do with it without any regard to any contracts that Flock might have with local towns and cities. Is that what you're getting to?
Pretty much. And then
Okay.
Fox 10, Phoenix, who's watching some residents alarmed by constant Flock safety data collection. This post was updated October 28th, 2025.
Oh, so very recently. My. Let me go ahead. I can read it for you. Here. Where are we starting? Can you click for me? I like how you highlight stuff. Helps me to read. Tempe, Arizona residents are voicing alarm over a growing network of Flock safety surveillance cameras across the valley, which they fear compromise personal privacy by constantly collecting and sharing vehicle and driver data. What we know, the Flock cameras, described as rapidly growing artificial intelligence surveillance network, capture data on every passing car, including make, model, license plate, and even bumper stickers. Not just when a crime occurs. Critics say the information is shared not only with law enforcement, but potentially with private companies and employers who subscribe to Flock services. This is a clear abuse of our sensitive and personally identifying information, said Tempe resident and city council candidate Bobby Nichols. During a public comment session before the Tempe City Council, Nichols, who has lived in Tempe for 25 years, is calling attention to the numerous cameras in the city, pushing for the contract to end. You know what, Mr. Nichols? Mr. Bobby Nichols, if you get to see this, I want to talk to you. I want you to help me spearhead this movement. I want to start in Payson because we, the American people, do not want to submit to Flock cameras. Caitlin Contras of an ACLU, Arizona's policy strategist, stated that the data can be used to track individuals' schedule, including visits to medical or religious institutions. You guys know how I feel about that, right? Stop tracking Christians! My God! Excuse me. That makes me so mad. Let me continue reading it because I kind of went off on my little tangent. Flock disputes the claim that it sells data without customer consent. However, critics worry about where personal information ends up when police departments and businesses are the customers.
So this is where we go back to Flock. Well, say they only hold the data for 7 days, but if a police department such as Payson downloads that data, now they're holding that data for 30 days. Who else has access to Flock's database?
I think that there should be a very transparent and very detailed investigation of Flock cameras in Gila County. Let's start in Payson and then we'll move to Gila County. I think the people of Payson, the people of Gila County should demand transparency on this. We do not want to be surveilled without our consent, and we do not want our data sold or given away. Apparently there's people just hacking into it now.
Now, Arizona's family.com, azfamily.com, reported in December 19th, 2025, that Flagstaff City Council canceled controversial contract for Flock safety cameras.
Let me go ahead and read through this article as well. The city of Flagstaff just canceled its contract with the surveillance camera company Flock Safety this week after a unanimous city council vote. Locals have been raising concerns over privacy issues for months, but the company said it's useful in finding missing people and criminals. The cameras are pretty inconspicuous when you're just driving by, but over 30 Flock cameras can be found around Flagstaff. Brendan Treshelle lives in Flagstaff. Excuse me if I mispronounced that. He said that after he learned Flock cameras were in town, he became concerned about his privacy. I look up on a light post and I see Flock camera installed at my don't have my glasses. I look up on a light post and I see flock camera installed and my heart just sinks, Trenchell said. It's the fact that they are keeping and maintaining a record of movements of all drivers, which is 99.8% of which will never be suspected of anything. So he created flock out flag with
Flock
a
out of flag.
if I can talk again. Flock out of flag. The purpose is to try and convince the city to end its contract with the company.
Okay, so let's look that up.
Yeah, flock out of flag. I think we should have flock out of Payson too. Just saying. Flock out of Payson.
So, Bob, this is a Instagram.
Ooh, we
Flock
need
out
to
of
follow
flag.
them.
Flock out of flag is determined to getting all AI surveillance flock cameras removed from Flagstaff AZ.
Send one of his videos to me because I want to work with this guy.
I'll do it after because I don't want to pull personal.
Yeah, we need to check this guy out before we go look through his stuff on a live stream.
Well, I just don't want to because we don't pull.
We don't really know him that well, so we want to make sure that we vet him before we let him speak on our platform for free.
Well, not really that. What I'm saying is quite literally you're on live right now, so anything I pull up on the screen will be seen live. So I just don't want to pull any of your stuff up at the moment.
I gotcha. Makes sense.
All right, but flock out of flag. Actually, I will keep that link up because yes, we are going to reach out to flock out of flag because
we are
flock
totally
out
going
of
to reach out
Payson
to
should be a thing.
Flock out of Payson.
Flock out
flock
of Payson.
Flock out of flag. We want you. We want you.
Yeah.
Flock out of flag to join us. We want to start a flock out of Payson movement.
Oh look, Flock CEO calls D-Flock movement a terrorist organization.
Wow, that's wild.
Because that's the thing. There's a new term called domestic terrorist.
It's funny how if you don't believe the narrative, and by the way, guys, if you don't know what controlled opposition is, I think you should look that up if you're still believing that there isn't one.
So domestic terrorism for the FBI's purpose involves acts of dangers to human life that are a violation of the criminal laws of the United States, appearing to be intended to intimidate or coerce the civilian population.
Well, it's just like if you don't agree with the narrative, they immediately call you a conspiracy
let's be honest.
theorist.
The real domestic terrorist is Flock itself.
Yeah,
and our
Flock.
government at this point.
You've lied repeatedly, Flock. Straight up. Like, you've been caught. Get out of my country.
Yeah. So when we talk about domestic terrorism being appearing to intend to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, influence the policy of government by intimidation or coercion.
Wow, what does that sound like?
And or affecting the conduct of a government by mass destruction, assassination, or kidnapping, and occurring primarily within the territorial jurisdiction of the United States.
So they pretty much just they called us something that they actively are.
See, because that's what I'm saying. Because right here, they're saying that this dude is the terrorist.
His primary motivation is chaos. They are closer to Antifa than they are anything else. And then unfortunately there's terroristic organizations, like D-Flock. His primary motivation is chaos. They are closer to Antifa than they are anything.
This dude is not a terrorist.
Dude, okay, so the guy on the computer, by the way, is the same guy in the green jacket.
Yes, that's
that
the CEO
just
of Flock.
literally lied on the other stream that we were talking about.
This guy is the CEO of Flock.
Yeah, he's the CEO of Flock that was literally on that other deal, just lying out of his teeth.
So the CEO of Flock is saying the CEO of D-Flock or Flock out of flag because this guy seems to be the CEO.
He seems like he's on point.
Saying this guy, the owner of Flock, is saying this guy is a domestic terrorist.
That's wild to me. That's giving projection, isn't it?
Yeah, feel me. This guy seems like the domestic terrorist.
Seems kind of like he's working for a terrorist organization himself.
So let's get back.
Out what they
10 more minutes.
10 more minutes.
do and what they're capable of doing, and a lot of people are just like, yeah, f that. And now every few days I hear about another city pushing back and deciding to take down flock safety cameras. However, in some cases, a city formally deciding that they no longer want flock safety services or cameras somehow doesn't result in them going away. After finding out that ICE was using their cameras without their knowledge or consent, the Chicago suburb of...
Wait now. So the cities are actively asking them to take them down, and they're not doing it? Well, man, I've heard that there's a lot of copper in those things. There's a lot of copper in those flood cameras.
Hey, you know what? That's actually true, too. Crackheads across the world are about to really, we're good.
I mean...
Yeah,
Not all
we need to
heroes.
get
No, just
we need to get the crackheads on those flock cameras immediately. There's copper all throughout them.
And apparently they don't care what us, the peasants, believe about flock cameras. They're going to keep them up anyway.
Evanston.
We don't advocate for anything illegal to occur.
By
That's
the
all a
way,
joke.
this is
That was
all
in Minecraft.
satire
That was all
and giggles.
Minecraft.
Sorry, we do not encourage any illegal activity on this chat. We're you know what?
We're joking,
We're
we're
former outlaws, so we joke.
We're joking.
Decided that they wanted them removed. So Flock Safety then reinstalled most of them. And since you can't own a Flock Safety device, only lease it, the city or police department would be handling and
So you can't even own a flock safety camera. You can only lease it the same way you lease a house or lease something else.
So, but the point that I'm getting at is these cities are voting to have them taken down, and they're
And they're
still
just
up.
repurposing them.
They're repurposing them. Okay, by the way, my Payson peeps, if we get them taken down, I want their locations, and I want to video record them going down.
Yeah, it's true.
potentially damaging private property when removing them. So now Evanston, Illinois is spending tax dollars on legal expenses for cease and desist letters and covering the cameras with plastic sheeting to protect residents from being tracked by them. But my previous video about this topic came way too late. Organizations like Lucy Parsons Labs and Sassy South have been pushing back for years. Another great example. Organizations like Lucy Parsons Labs and Sassy South have
So these are people I'm interested in. By the way, if you are either of these groups, Lucy Parsons Labs, and what was the other one?
Sassy.
Sassy.
Wait, hold on.
Surveillance system infrastructure. Well, we're not like from the south, but we're from the southwest. So the Sassy Institute, I don't know if you guys would see us, but we would love to visit with you.
Bow.
Bow, we got your website. Yes, Southerners Against Surveillance Systems and Infrastructure. I want to talk to you guys, please. We'll send you an email or something. All right.
Wow, I like this. So Sassy's website is
Uh-huh.
actually breaking down the technology services themselves, so how
they
police are
work.
using it, and then they're also breaking down different cities, how it's being utilized in different cities. And there's actually not just Flock. There's 2 other companies that are also doing this.
Really?
Fusus and
Fusus?
Peregrine.
Wow, Fusus and Peregrine. We're going to do a deep dive on you guys, too.
Yep.
Since I don't enjoy being surveilled. Yeah, I don't enjoy being surveilled without my consent. And all of you are on notice, frankly.
have been pushing back for years. Another great example, Will Freeman, who's a software engineer who started DFlock last year.
Around a year ago, I was taking a road trip from Seattle to Huntsville, Alabama, and I ran into so many of these along the way in these like really small towns. I wanted to do what most cities weren't doing and actually tell people what these things are, where they are, and how many there are.
Will is more or less simply trying to keep a map and
So wait, you just
Daddy,
asked,
are you
just
watching
asked?
this? My dad, Glenn Matthews. If you're in Oklahoma and you see this, they have them in your community too, bro. Look up El Reno, Oklahoma.
So there is an app on the App Store called dflock.me.
Actually, those guys deflocked me, tagged me in a post on TikTok the other day.
Hey, and
Yeah.
so that's
We wanna work
this
with
guy.
you, deflock
that's
me.
that's who would just talk. That's this guy. That is Will Freeman.
Will Freeman, hey
He's the
man, I
CEO.
don't know if it was you or who it was, but I got tagged on one of your like app deals.
Sweet.
We should.
These things are, where they are, and how many there are.
Will is more or less simply trying to keep a map and publicly accessible record of deployed cameras. I think this is something that both local governments and Flock Safety should already be doing, and you'd probably have a hard time finding anyone who disagrees with that, right?
I've never gotten a cease and desist before.
You have a hard time finding anyone who disagrees with that, right?
Wow. So Flock put a cease and desist on DFlock.
Really?
Flock put a cease and desist on DFlock.
Wow. It's almost like you guys don't like people to talk about the naughty things that you're doing.
I've never gotten a cease and desist before. But luckily, before this even happened, the EFF reached out via email and just said that they were there if we needed anything. So I reached out to them, and then they were able to send a response, actually 2 responses, because their lawyers sent another letter back saying basically like, we don't care, we think you're wrong anyway.
Flock's cease and desist here was pertaining to trademark, which in my opinion seems like an absurdly frivolous way to try and bully someone to take down a website that simply provides the public with some transparency about surveillance that their tax dollars pay for. But Garrett Langley, the founder and CEO of Flock Safety, doesn't see it this way.
And then unfortunately there's terroristic organizations like DFLOG, whose primary motivation is chaos. They are closer to Antifa than...
This man looks like he's the primary agent of chaos.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Man, all this guy does is lie, it seems like.
Yeah, this guy has a face. He has a face I can't trust.
I don't know about going into his facial features, but he is sure went
I'm gonna be real.
down the lion road, man.
than they are anything else.
I mean, where do you even begin with this? Firstly, if you're going to live action roleplay The Dark Knight, at least watch the movie up until the point where Lucius Fox and Batman both agree that their mass surveillance system is grossly unethical and intentionally destroy it. Secondly, using buzzwords like Antifa doesn't exactly invite rational or good faith discourse. You trolled this guy with legal demands and then publicly accused him of being a terrorist. But the key takeaway of this interview for me.
But that's why we have a democratically elected process, right? Like we're not forcing Flock on anyone.
Let me make something clear. My little farm here is not.
You're not forcing Flock on anyone, so when I have the city take your cameras down, they won't go back up?
Like we're not forcing Flock on anyone.
Let me make something clear. My little farm here is not exactly in a dense urban environment. We don't even have sidewalks. I literally cannot leave my neighborhood to go get groceries or ship out a package without passing a Flock camera and having my activities logged into a database that is shared to a much larger regional database. I am not allowed to know who has access to this information. The people sharing my local information regionally or even nationally most likely do not know exactly who has access to it. I didn't sign up for Flock Safety. I never consented to it. I've never had an opportunity to vote for it. I do not have the option to opt.
Yeah, just imagine they install a Flock camera outside your driveway. Yeah. Now they're going to know every time you pass by it.
Well, they're going to get to see me walk out there in my house coat and my underwear, but, you know, it is what it is.
Out of it, and then after researching and taking some pictures of the cameras that are constantly photographing me and seeking more information about them, I coincidentally get cops in my driveway waking my family members up, asking weird questions, and freaking my neighbors out. Now I'm shelving education.
Wow. That sounds totally what happens, like something that would happen in a completely free country with due process.
Yeah, no, that sounds like Big Brother police.
That sounds like you better listen to me or else.
That sounds like the police are acting like domestic terrorists to try and coerce the civilian population to comply, as the FBI literally stated in their definition of domestic terrorism.
Wait.
Occasional video projects to pay attorneys and constantly have to make sure someone is around to take care of my animals because every day I'm not sure if I'm going to be fucking detained for literally not breaking a single law. We're not forcing Flock on anyone, lacks so much perspective and is packed with so much delusion and cognitive dissonance that even Forbes senior editor can't manage to keep a straight face through the sentence.
We're not forcing Flock on anyone. May I help you?
Through the sentence.
We're not forcing Flock on anyone.
Keep a straight face through the sentence.
We're not forcing Flock on anyone. May I help you?
Really?
Here are just a few of the many strange events regularly happening at Benn's home and lab this month that may or may not be associated with this video.
It's almost like
That's me being like, what the f*** are you doing?
Surveilled more.
It almost seems like they're coercing him to comply.
Yeah, that's kind of what that seems like. That's suspicious. That's
this is
weird.
the FBI definition. This seems like they're trying to coerce.
Can we reread that? What is domestic terrorism
let's
again?
Go back. Let's go back.
Let's reread that, shall we?
So, domestic terrorism for the FBI's purpose. I can't highlight it, so I'm just reading it.
You read it because I can't see it.
Involving acts dangerous to human life that are a violation of the criminal laws of the United States or of any state, appearing to be intended to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, influence the policy of government by intimidation or coercion, or affect the conduct of a government by mass destruction, assassination, or kidnapping, and occurring primarily within the territorial jurisdiction of the United States.
Wow. It almost seems like you guys are trying to harass that man. That's what that sounds like to me.
Literally all the neighbors are freaked out. I think he's just recording video. Would it be illegal if I took my out? Let's just be honest for a second and state the obvious. These cameras aren't exactly...
It's all private property,
It's
right?
all private property.
That's all private
By the
property.
way, he's a lot more friendly than I would be.
Right?
A lot more friendly.
No, he's being cool about it. Yeah, I'd be going out there.
I just
I'd be
want you
yelling at
guys
him.
to know, like, I hunt and stuff,
It
so
would be
don't
an
come up into my
altercation.
yard, okay?
little impenetrable fortresses. They're plastic Android cameras and compute boxes mounted 7 feet off the ground with hose clamps. And in many cases, they can be found in semi-rural areas where one has trouble finding a stop sign that doesn't have bullet holes in it. And there are a whole lot of people who absolutely despise these cameras, but we're being patient and we're taking the high road. We're asking our local, state, and federal governments to not throw our tax dollars at a fast-scaling tech startup before adequately researching the risks and rewards, and especially before vetting the hardware and software services that are harvesting our information. It might seem like my research and videos on this topic are anti-flock, and to some degree, because of delusional shit like this, they are. But we also shouldn't deny that there's a long list of companies trying everything they can to take flock safety's place on the leaderboard. If somehow we all woke up tomorrow morning and flock ceased.
Which, I'm just gonna say this, I'm not for the cameras at all.
Yeah, none
because
of these
I'm an
companies.
American and I believe in freedom.
Freedom
I'm
for
sorry,
privacy.
but the police are gonna have to do their own job. You can't depend on this. Like, that's my own opinion, though. You guys don't have to believe that.
Let's look up the United States Constitution really quick.
Yes, let's do that. I can probably still quote the preamble.
I'm not even gonna claim that I can.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure the domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of... Dang, I still got it.
And so
I had to peek for a second.
I'm just gonna scroll to the point. Actually, sorry, just to make this quicker. Constitution on privacy. So while the U.S. Constitution doesn't explicitly mention privacy, the Supreme Court found an implied right to privacy primarily rooted in the Fourth Amendment's protection
Ooh,
against
let's read this.
unreasonable searches and seizures. So let's go to the Fourth Amendment.
Fourth Amendment. Let's read it. Let's read it.
The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So if you are constantly surveilling, what are you doing? You're
They
searching.
have no. They have no probable cause.
You're searching.
Yeah,
You're searching unprobably.
And they've proved it that they can see
They're
things after
searching-
the fact.
They're literally
without
using
probable
these
cause. No, I'm
to
not
search
for it.
unprobably.
No, the cops should have to do their job. I'm
Violation
sorry.
of the amendment of the Fourth Amendment of the
So,
U.S. Constitution.
I don't agree that the cameras and patients should be replaced at all.
You're
I know there are
complete-
people who will disagree with me, but you can have security or you can have freedom.
We choose freedom. We're
We
Americans.
choose freedom. We're Americans.
To exist, another startup would quickly be in their place promising to help police solve crime in exchange for taxpayer money. But do you want to know what I find absolutely outrageous? That over 80,000 surveillance cameras were installed all over the country, and I'm not aware of a single public surveillance camera.
Look at how many are in Arizona.
937.
Do we have the most?
Really?
No. We have.
Colorado
Go to-
beats us.
Colorado
New
beats
York
us.
beats us.
New York beats
Oh
us,
my
but
God,
not by
Chicago's
much.
got 3,000.
Wow.
San
Chicago.
Jose's got 4,000. Los Angeles is 4,500.
How many does San Francisco have?
It's saying that whole area, so I'm thinking it's that San Jose area is included.
But this is just the
San
ones that we
Francisco
know
will get
about.
tickets.
Yeah.
Same with Paradise Valley.
Well, and so like same thing because exactly they're
Because
using
they're
these
not
flock
exactly
cameras to
telling the
literally-
truth either.
Literally give out traffic, traffic tickets.
I've literally gotten several tickets in San Francisco from the flock cameras.
Well, we'll
And it's-
discuss what I'll tell you to do about that later.
Okay.
We'll finish this. We're
We'll
gonna
put
finish
it in the
this.
complaint basket.
Cameras were installed all over the country, And I'm not aware of a single public audit of the devices, the services, or the technology. And if there was, they would have found the exact same low-hanging fruit detailed in this video. And that's the big difference here that we need to constantly be acknowledging. Your government supposedly exists to keep order, security, and safety for society. Flock Safety exists to make money. They're not a charity, they're a $7.5 billion tech startup reportedly preparing to launch an IPO. And by far, they're
So just think about this. They're a $7.5 billion tech company, and they lie multiple times. They're not secure, and people are getting access to our data, and they're making that amount of money.
Yeah. And they're asking the government to give them more free money to continuously expand.
Screw that! Flock camera don't need no more money. Excuse my French. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm getting mad. The madder I get about this. Sorry, we can continue.
Their biggest investor is Andreessen Horowitz, so this is pretty simple stuff. Should we trust civilian data with a company who is partially controlled and funded by Andreessen Horowitz? Well, let's see. Mark Andreessen was a board member of Facebook during the Cambridge Analytica scandal and was one of the people on the hook for over $8 billion in privacy violation settlement. A16Z's portfolio company, Coinbase, exposed sensitive information of 69,000 customers. Even the A16Z website itself had flaws allowing hackers to view sensitive information about their portfolio companies. There's so much. What else? LendUp was shut down in 2021 for repeatedly breaking the law and cheating its own customers. TELUS deceived their customers into thinking that they were putting their money into FDIC-insured savings accounts. Wise was involved in funding Hamas and pig-butchering crypto schemes. But no, I'm sure this time it'll be fine. I'm so sure that it'll be fine that I'm not even going to look under the hood. I have an idea, and it's a pretty obvious conclusion to all of this, and I think it's an idea that anyone watching this can agree on, well, except for maybe the people invested in government surveillance, but hear me out. If a private company wants to offer services to the government that are related to national security, public surveillance, or processing data that will be used within the public justice system, they will have to pay an application fee and provide access to any hardware or software that they intend to put in public. This application fee will hire a small team of independent security researchers who are vetted and unaffiliated with the services or products that they're researching. This team will essentially do exactly what we did in this video, but with adequate resources. If problems are discovered, CVEs will be published and responsible disclosure will be followed, which would presumably help the company tighten things up without having to pay bug bounties. And if no major problems are discovered, then the company will receive a rating that will be valid for 1 year until they have to renew their vendor license and get a less intensive inspection. This is not too much to ask. You can't open a hair salon without a license. You can't keep a McDonald's open without a health inspection. You can't legally drive a car past a flock safety camera without taking a routine driver's test and having a vehicle that passes basic safety requirements. This is an apolitical, common sense solution to a really big problem. I'm going to formally propose it to legislators I'm in contact with, and I think it'd be really useful if you wrote, emailed, and called your representatives, senators, and state attorney generals proposing the same thing.
We will record
I don't believe that humans are intrinsically right or
of my state today, and I will raise Cain about flock cameras today.
Today's Sunday, it might have to be tomorrow.
Oh, I forgot it was Sunday.
left. But if you haven't noticed, finding objectivity in the media right now is like being a grasshopper stuck in the middle of a football field. I'm very familiar with Ground News. I've been a paying customer of the service for years. It's an app and a website that collects news articles from around the world and organizes them by political bias, reliability, and potential conflicts of interest, such as media ownership. Ground News themselves are independently owned and funded by subscribers like myself, and they're vetted by 3 different independent news monitoring organizations. So here's an example. Here we have this AI-generated drone illustration hovering over protesters, and it's warning them that they're being monitored by predator drones orbiting over Los Angeles. Yes, orbiting. I suppose if people could believe that the Earth is flat, then people could believe that LA is a celestial body. Okay, so I head over to Ground News to see if this is even a thing, and kablam, it is. And then you can see these bias filters, which you could use as a sort of political compass or an amusing joyride to see how cooked we all are. Or I can easily see who owns the media source, and then their factuality score from 3 different news monitoring organizations. And then if I'm feeling brave, I can use the blind spot feature to see the news stories that my own personal internet echo chamber isn't showing me. And as usual, when I have a sponsor on this channel, any profit from that sponsorship will go to UNICEF Ukraine. Russia is actively targeting Ukraine's infrastructure, and nothing spoils the holidays like knowing that you didn't help children freezing to death. If you're into this, you could subscribe to get 40% off the Vantage plan by scanning this QR code or using my link, ground.news/Ben.
Wrapping it up.
In my last video on this, I talked a lot about ethics. I talked a lot about how ALPRs and AI cameras could be misused and how they already have been misused. I outlined how I believe it easily violates Americans' Fourth Amendment rights. And here is some feel-good information that you probably don't get to hear much of in 2025. This is a completely nonpartisan issue. One could use this type of surveillance to track people that ICE intends to capture or deport, or one could use this type of surveillance to track ICE to sabotage and warn people about raids. It could be used to track a woman leaving her state to get an abortion. It can also be used to track someone driving around during a lockdown during a pandemic. There is no civilian anywhere who is always 100% aligned with their government throughout their entire life. If mass surveillance sounds good to you today, then it probably wouldn't have sounded good to you 5 years ago, and I guarantee you that it won't sound good to you at some point in the future. This isn't a right versus left thing, or a Republican versus Democrat thing, or an empathy versus logic thing. It's an authoritarian versus individual thing. Privacy is a form of power that increases your control over your own destiny. And right now, you're at a junction where you're made to be so scared of your neighbors that you might be willing to give up that power. Or you can simply say no. I refuse to pay for my every movement to be tracked by my government through a for-profit company that hasn't even been adequately vetted to protect my security. But for this to stop, you need to use your voice and you need to get involved. There are links in the description to show you exactly how to do that.
And we will be going through the links, and
This video is by far the most time-consuming, impact.
I'm gonna cut it here.
Let's
I know
cut
that
it.
Ben
Let's
is
get off live,
probably
'cause
got something.
I gotta use
So
glue.
let's all right, hold on really quick. End it off with a little.
Okay, so while everything does seem a little dark and gloomy about the flock cameras, the surveillance, the, well, obvious government overreach there, I'm just gonna say this. We don't have to live in fear. And if you do live in fear, and you're not a believer, I really encourage you to reach out and maybe ask Jesus to give you his peace. And if you don't know Jesus, ask him, and he will show himself to you at some point. I believe that. Yeah, you don't have to worry about the future, because it'll all work out sooner or later. That's scripture too. It'll all work out sooner or later. You don't have to worry about tomorrow. What's the verse? I'm trying to think of the verse. I think it's in Matthew, I can't remember. But overall, guys, I just want to say that I'm happy you guys were here if you were here. If not, there'll be more shows like this, and we're just so happy you came. I'm Cindy Lister. I'm a ranch chef. I talk about all things local politics. I talk about, let's see, my food stuff, obviously, the food chain. Yeah, if you have any questions, hit us up. Thanks. Bye.